unusual plant species introduction in the shadowy corners of our world. Beyond the familiar roses and daisies, lurk botanical enigmas that defy our understanding of what plants should be. Welcome to Unusual Plant Species, where we'll venture into nature's cabinet of botanical curiosities. Plants, those seemingly passive organisms, have evolved strategies so bizarre, so utterly perplexing, that they challenge our very definition of the kingdom. Today, we'll unveil nature's most bewildering botanical secrets. What if I told you there exist plants that hunt, plants that rise from the dead, plants that deceive with elaborate disguises, and plants whose very appearance seems to belong to another world entirely? The Green Kingdom harbors over 390,000 known species. Yet among them dwell the true oddities, evolutionary rebels that have abandoned conventional plant behavior to embrace the strange and extraordinary. Carnivorous plants, perhaps the most baffling botanical contradiction. Plants that hunt. In nutrient-poor environments where survival seems impossible, some plants have turned the tables on the natural order, becoming predators themselves. The Venus flytrap, that mesmerizing executioner, possesses one of the most sophisticated mechanisms in the plant kingdom. Its trap, lined with trigger hairs, operates with mathematical precision, requiring 2 touches within 20 seconds to spring its leafy jaws shut. A counting plant, a botanical calculator that remembers stimuli. But the Venus flytrap is merely the gateway to carnivorous wonders. Consider the pitcher plants, those elegant vessels of doom whose slippery walls and digestive pools become the final destination for countless insects. Some species of Nepenthes have evolved pitchers large enough to drown rats and small birds' liquid graves adorned with nectar bribes that lure victims to their death. Their digestive fluids, a mysterious cocktail of enzymes, dissolve flesh and chitin, transforming prey into plant food through a process eerily reminiscent of our own digestion. The sundews employ a different strategy altogether. Their glistening tentacles, tipped with what appears to be morning dew, are actually adhesive death traps baited with sweet secretions. Once an insect lands, it becomes ensnared in this sticky embrace, triggering surrounding tentacles to slowly curl inward, bringing the prey into closer contact with digestive enzymes. But perhaps most astonishing are the bladderworts, aquatic hunters with the fastest known trapping mechanism in plants. Their underwater bladder traps create a vacuum that, when triggered, sucks prey in at speeds the human eye cannot perceive, the entire process complete in less than a millisecond. Extreme adaptation plants deep in the Namib Desert dwells a living fossil so strange, it appears to be the result of a botanical experiment gone wrong. Welwitschia mirabilis, with just 2 continuously growing leaves that split and fray over its millennium-long lifespan, creating the illusion of many leaves writhing across the desert floor. This ancient enigma, dating back to the age of dinosaurs, can survive more than 1,500 years in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments, drawing moisture from coastal fog through its leaves while its taproot plunges deep into the parched earth. Even more perplexing is Hydnora africana, a parasitic plant that lives its entire life underground except for its flower, a fleshy, geometric chamber that emerges briefly to release an odor of rotting meat. This ghostly organism lacks chlorophyll, leaves, and stems, existing as little more than a flowering digestive system that siphons nutrients from its host's roots. Then there's the infamous corpse flower, Rafflesia arnoldi, owner of the world's largest single bloom, stretching up to 3 feet in diameter. This floral colossus produces no visible stem, leaves, or roots, materializing seemingly from nowhere on its host vine to release its notorious stench of decomposing flesh. Among the most mystifying botanical phenomena are the resurrection plants, capable of surviving complete desiccation for years. The Rose of Jericho can lose up to 95% of its moisture content, becoming a withered ball blown by desert winds. Yet when water returns, it unfurls in a mesmerizing transformation, green life spreading through seemingly dead tissue within hours. These plants don't simply endure drought, they embrace death itself, only to return when conditions improve, challenging our understanding of the boundary between life and death in the plant world. Mimicry and deception in plants, the orchid family has perfected the art of deception, with the bee orchids standing as masters of manipulation. Their flowers bear an uncanny resemblance to female bees, complete with velvety texture and appropriate markings. This visual forgery is so convincing that male bees attempt to mate with the flowers, inadvertently becoming pollen couriers. This sexual deception extends beyond appearance. These orchids even produce pheromones mimicking those of receptive female insects, creating a multisensory illusion that has evolved over millennia to exploit the very instincts of their pollinators. Equally cunning is the dead horse arum, whose foul-smelling flowers mimic rotting meat to attract carrion flies. This plant actually heats its own tissues, volatilizing its scent compounds and further simulating a fresh carcass by reaching temperatures above ambient air, a plant that creates fever to perfect its deadly charade. Then we have the lithops, or living stones, succulent masters of camouflage, whose rounded leaves so perfectly mimic the surrounding rocks that they disappear into their environment. Some species even developing transparent windows that allow light to reach their photosynthetic tissues hidden beneath the soil. Bizarre growth PATTERNS and STRUCTURES, the baobab trees of Africa stand as botanical contradictions, appearing as if planted upside down, with their branch networks resembling root systems reaching toward the sky. These giants can store up to 120,000 liters of water in their massive trunks, becoming living reservoirs in arid landscapes. Equally perplexing are the strangler figs, which begin life as epiphytes in the canopy before sending aerial roots downward that eventually envelop their host tree. As these roots thicken and connect, they literally strangle their support, creating a hollow fig tree around the space where its host once stood, a botanical phantom. The dragon blood trees of Socotra Island appear transported from an alien world, with their dense umbrella-shaped crowns and upturned branches. When wounded, they weep a crimson resin that has been prized for centuries as medicine, varnish, and dye living artifacts that blur the line between plant and myth. Perhaps most immediately bewildering is the sensitive plant, Mimosa pudica, whose leaves fold inward and droop when touched, a rapid movement response completed within seconds. This plant appears to possess a primitive nervous system, though its movement is actually the result of complex hydraulic mechanisms triggered by changes in cellular pressure. Conclusion: the botanical oddities we've explored today represent nature's most creative solutions to survival. Their strange adaptations from carnivory to mimicry, from resurrection to architectural impossibilities, remind us that the plant kingdom harbors mysteries as profound as any found in the animal world. As we face unprecedented biodiversity loss, these unusual plants, each the result of millions of years of evolutionary experimentation, stand at particular risk. Many exist in isolated habitats or specialized niches that face mounting human pressures. What lessons might we glean from these botanical marvels? Perhaps that life finds extraordinary pathways to persist, that appearances can be deceptive, and that even in a world thoroughly mapped and cataloged, profound mysteries remain rooted in plain sight. In our next exploration, we'll venture into equally strange territory as we uncover extreme environments and their inhabitants, the organisms that thrive where nothing should survive. Until then, look more closely at the green world around you. Enigmas may be hiding in plain sight.